Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Harvey Wizard with us. Harvey's a lot of things. He's quite interesting running for the US presidential election of 2028. Best-selling author. He's 65 years old and looks probably 30. He's a life strategy coach. He's a millionaire philanthropist, globe-trotting piano man and stand-up comedian. So lots of things. Multi-potential light slash polymath. We're gonna explore all kinds of topics today. I'm not even gonna pitch my company because we have only 22 minutes here. But Harvey, let's start with your last name, Wizard. What's the branding lesson behind the name Harvey Wizard?
Sure. So I had already had a business, and I owned the trademark to the College Wizard, which focuses on getting kids into college and getting them a perfect SAT score. And so I began introducing myself to parents as Harvey the College Wizard, just because my actual last name had originally been hyphenated after it was messy, And so I was Harvey the College Wizard. And the lesson in branding, it was about maybe 3 years ago that I attended. I forgot his name. It was a mastermind, and it was here in Costa Rica. And I normally don't get to go to masterminds, but it was right here. And it was interesting to me because it was all males for the most part in their mid-30s. It's, focusing on digital marketing agencies, that kind of thing. And so since I was going there, I decided none of these people have met me. None of these people know who I am. I'm just going to introduce myself as Harvey Wizard and see if people buy it. Honestly, right? And see if people buy it. And they did, and I had this thing going for me that at this point, I generally appear to people as 20 years younger than I am. So there's always that little bit of, back and forth at the beginning where people think I'm kidding and I have to pull up my driver's license, and it's very nice. But so that distinguished me. And then I found by the end of the mastermind, I was kind of holding court, and the guys were calling me the closer, and they were impressed with my business experience and all that. But the point was, when I came up with this idea of branding myself as Harvey Wizard, part of it was there were no other Harvey Wizards in the world. So that was my original plan over 2 years ago. If you were to Google Harvey Wizard now, you see I pretty much go on for 2 to 3 pages, and it's all just Harvey Wizard, Harvey Wizard, Harvey Wizard, Harvey Wizard. Do you see what I'm saying? So it came from choosing. You start with something that's authentic, and then you see what the possibilities are based on that, which is also a general business principle. You're always looking for the edge. What will give you that edge? So in this case, being the only Harvey Wizard in the world, or at least the only one who has something that's Googleable, it suddenly gives me at least an advantage. So if I meet somebody hears me, all they have to remember is Harvey Wizard, and it's easy to remember. So that's that on the branding of Harvey Wizard.
But wouldn't your parents dislike you from killing their last name? What's your story? Who are you? What are your goals in life?
But say what you said again about the last name. You said something about.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that
parents, question. If I kill my last name, Cormier, I would dishonor my family.
Oh, well, now see. Remember, I told you that who knows where this is going to go.
Yeah.
The truth is, part of the reason that I look as good as I do, I didn't used to, has to do with my marrying not one, but 2 Romanian webcam girls I met on a porn site. Which, of course, is now, that becomes a pretty good credential to running for president of the United States, as we see, just follow past performance. I just didn't rape anybody. But, and so when you leave your Jewish wife of 28 years, and I thought it's being a good guy because my daughter was already 21 and in college, and I had stayed in a marriage that I wasn't that happy in. And even the webcam thing was sort of a little beyond my control because I was depressed. I was depressed because I was in this, well, it was what I'll call a blissfully unhappy marriage. That's a marriage where everybody else thinks everything's going great, but your favorite sexual partner is your hand. So anyway, and that led me to seek out antidepressants, and I was, and they gave me this one antidepressant, and antidepressants have these nasty side effects, and so they gave me another one, which turned out to be Prozac. And interestingly, the one person who should, or one class of people who should never take Prozac, it works for most people, it's an antidepressant, are people who have any level of bipolar in their makeup. Now, at this point, I was 53. I'd never been diagnosed with bipolar. I didn't know that I was bipolar. Sometimes I do seem to be maybe over-energized. I will accept that. But I didn't know that. I take the Prozac, suddenly it worked too well. I was up all night. It takes away all your inhibitions, increases your sex drive out the roof. And that's how I ended up getting in the situation. So the point is, as a result of that, I've been essentially disowned from most of my family. My brother took my ex-wife's side in all of this. The truth, and now we get down to the real, but I'm still smiling. When I left my first ex-wife after, the issue of, and I understood it was embarrassing, I gave her it was about $4 million net worth. A lot more had been made, a lot of it had spent. But anyway, I gave her everything, but she wasn't happy with that, and she insisted on another $1 million in alimony, not child support. My daughter was already in college; everything was paid, right? And when I didn't pay, there's a court order against me that if I go into the U.S., they'll put me in jail until I pay her the extra $1 million. So you see, the Harvey Wizard, it kind of works on many levels. It does. Because I do feel as though my entire life began again when I left the U.S. and moved to Romania with my first Romanian webcam. As I said,
and how did that work out, that relationship?
Well, it lasted 2 years, and here's the interesting thing: I wouldn't be the man I am today if it hadn't been for that one. And when we're down low, and we tend to do the things that we do what we're used to. And yes, that's why after she left me for our mutual dentist, here in and actually that's why I'm in Costa Rica, because after living in Romania for 6 months, because at the time my tutoring schedule meant working at night, and she didn't like it, and we looked for a country that was politically stable on the U.S. time zone that you could get into with a Romanian visa, because Romanians are not welcome in most parts of the world. And that's how we ended up in Costa Rica. And that's actually how I ended up in Gracia. Like, why are you in Gracia? I'm in Gracia because they had the best SEO. And back 12 years ago, when I was looking for a place to stay in Costa Rica, I looked for like long-term apartments in Costa Rica. And the top one that came up was the place I wound up staying in Gracia. And in the end, even though I left, went to Romania to marry crazy ex-wife number 3, and then came back, and like a great Cinderella story where I'm Cinderella, I met my now perfect 4th and last wife, Dr. Raquel, the relationship doctor. And finally, yes, a psychologist is what I need to keep me on track.
So she's a relationship doctor. That's quite interesting right there. So what's your goal? To come back to the question, like, what are you aiming for nowadays?
Oh, what am I aiming for?
Yeah.
I'm actually, well, the part that I didn't mention, and this also has to do with my name and all of that, is that my daughter died almost 5 years ago.
Wow.
Because she did something stupid. My ex-wife, who didn't have a problem estranging me from her by saying I was hooked up with crazy Romanians, seemed to not have a problem. And I only found out about this after the fact, that she'd been in a relationship with a raging alcoholic for 7 years. And surprised, during the pandemic, she held a little party. Who knows how much she drank, how much coke she snorted. She thought it would be a good idea to step over the 3rd floor railing outside her apartment to take a photo. And now she gets to teach the angels how not to take a selfie for all eternity. And so that, of course, is going to change my view about life. So now I'm at a point, I don't have any kids. I don't have any grandkids. My family has effectively disowned me, and I've disowned those who have disowned me just for bad treatment. So I'm here, where it's not an issue. It's like, what do I want to do? And as it turns out, I actually have the brain power and the experience to help pretty much anybody. And that's what I'm actually offering. That's part of this whole wizard2028.com premise that if you want a better life, I will help. I will coach you to get there if you're coachable, whatever it is. If you want your business bigger, if I take a look at your business, and that's why I give to anybody, you get 30 minutes free consultation with me directly. I will never have a team. And that's another story of how having scaled businesses and had very successful businesses, for me, I just never was able to maintain the same quality of doing it myself. And now that I'm at 65 and I can do whatever I want, I'm like, I want to just help as many people one-on-one as I can.
That's
And
fascinating.
that's
Yeah,
the idea.
I can see like empathy in you because you've been through so much shit, and I guess you fucked up at some level, but who doesn't, right? So you can take that and listen to your clients and get them somewhere. Who are your clients normally? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they founders? And how do you market to them?
Um, it's sort of broad marketing. It's something that I've just been really introducing over the last few weeks, just through Instagram, and I'm trying to see how much I can do just through Instagram posts, because I've just been noticing that my Instagram has really been I've just been watching the followers go up by hundreds every day. So and truthfully, the part of the running for president thing has multiple angles. I mean, one is that it becomes a platform, right? And also I found out that I am the earliest to announce in history. There's actually a reasoning behind it, which is all of these independent candidates, every 4 years they come out, they raise all this money and they lose, and where did all the money go? And in the digital age, if you actually had a large enough email list, you could win the election just off of that if it was large enough, right? So that's part of the idea. Well, let me start 4 years out, and the idea of this is to prove to people that I deserve to be president from day one, because I'm also offering a remote job to anybody who wants one. Here's the premise. Anybody who brings their business to me, I give them 30 days free coaching, because what I know about coaching is that most people are uncoachable anyway. So the 30 days, either of us can walk away. And that gives the person who's maybe had a lot of bad coaches, and I've hired enough of my own bad coaches, to say, if I give this guy 30 days and it's free, and I'm like, if I make you a millionaire in 30 days and you want to walk away, I'm very happy with that. I don't care. That would be wonderful. But generally what's going to happen is if I can make you X amount of money in those first 30 days, we're going to want to have a long-term relationship that's now already tested. So it's kind of like getting to live together and stuff, So I've got that, and I will help anybody who has any goal that I've achieved. I can walk you through how to do it, because there's a system for everything. If you want to look this good at 65, part of it's my genetics. Mostly it's just all regimen planning and about $20,000 in plastic surgery. Just doing the right things.
Plastic surgery, like how is that gonna help?
Okay, here's how.
Yeah, is that healthy?
Is it healthy?
Yeah.
Gosh, see, that's the funny thing about being 65 and seeing all of the people that I've known that I've had arguments have already gone. So I'm like, I don't really care about health, but yes, it's not an issue of health. Also, if you do it within reason, and I can tell you, what have I had done? I had my nose done. I had under both eyes done twice, over the eyes done once. I had neck liposuction, where they suck all of the fat out from under your chin and give you an angular jawline. I've had one of the biggest things that I would recommend to anybody, and if anybody wants to go on harveywizard.com, you can get on my mailing list or email me. I will set you up with Dr. Felix, who for $4,000 gave me this inch of hair in the front. That's one of the main reasons that people think I'm so young. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I thought you would say this inch of dick.
Well, it's almost like one. It becomes that, when you show up and your hair is like, and it's funny because the reason I wear my hair this way is I was living in Romania, and these Romanian guys, they're all like, into their appearance, and they always have like the hair like up like that. And I was like, I want that. And then I got my hair transplant, and it's just one of those small things in life. You know, some people, they always want a Lamborghini. Like I was like, oh, I want to be able to, you know, and it works. I mean, women in their 20s proposition me relatively frequently, or and it was the other night, my wife and I were out, and there was another couple and their mom sitting across the table. And so the couple, my wife is 35, the couple was probably in their 30s, and the mom is in her 50s. And I look, you know, and I look over, you know, just glance over, and I'm like, this woman is kind of looking at me with these lusty eyes. And then I look again, I see it again, and then I said to my wife, I said, is she like staring in that kind of way? And I was like, oh, I feel like, you know, women must feel when those, you know, fat, sweaty guys are leering at them and stuff. So it was both flattering and unnerving. That was kind of interesting. So it's been well worth the investment. And then the other tricks is just getting my hair cut and dyed every 2 weeks. And there's this thing called Blackbeard for Men. It's a beard mascara that you just put on, and you can put it over your white beard stubble and the daily gym, and there you have the secret for that kind of success.
Yeah, the bird, it looks painted, but that's fascinating. It's cool like that you're so transparent.
And honestly, yeah, and honestly, and I have to tell you, as I was saying it, it's because of the settings of the camera. It normally, like if you see it up close, it looks very natural. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm here.
Let's see if I can change that.
Well, you actually, I could, let me see, can I change my settings? Hold on.
I don't think so, but I can like do this.
I actually can.
Or we can go only me.
No, I actually just did it. I just did it. It looks less so now, right?
Yeah.
It's starting to look less so. Yeah.
Yep. Interesting. What about like health? You know, like at 65, do you have like a biohacking regimen for energy? Like, do you do any of these things, weight training and so forth?
Yes, of course I do. I mean, the weight training I started 2016. There was an issue with crazy ex-wife number 3. I won't get into how I ended up exiled in Bulgaria for
well, you can get into that. You've already gone pretty far, so that
well, I know, I see it, but I see I've only got 5 minutes left, you know, so I want to choose my stories carefully. But I'll just say that I was exiled to Bulgaria for 90 days in the Bulgarian winter with nothing to do, and I was teaching at night, and luckily 10 minutes away there was a gym. And because it's Bulgarian, it's cheap. For $50 a month, I got unlimited gym and unlimited personal training, because the manager, who was required to be there whenever the gym was open and sweep up the floor, you know, then you appreciate not living in Bulgaria. But anyway, so I had him for 90 days, you know, and he gave me a routine that I've just maintained for now almost 9 years. So I try to go to the gym, you know, 5 times a week, and it's mostly weight training, and, you know, and then I'll do some cardio. But that's for the body part. For my for diet, it's really just portion control, you know, and I know that because I'm at 60 kilos, so it's, I don't know, 135 pounds, something like that. But I was probably closer to 72 kilos, like when I was 53, because I was on my way down. And a lot of what keeps me motivated is, you know, being with a wife 30 years younger than me. And so it becomes this challenge where, you know, I like it when people say, hey, chicos, which is how you would refer to young people, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just eating less. And now, because I'm old, my sugar has always been somewhat problematic, just genetically. And so then I got to a point where I take, you know, an anti-sugar pill, and then I've gotten lactose intolerant, but that helps with the weight because I can't really eat sugar or dairy. So I'm mostly eating, you know, protein, vegetables. You know, I'll eat some whole wheat bread, and you know, I drink a little bit of alcohol. I used to drink most every night. Now I drink a few drinks a week.
That's good. Yeah, I'm trying to make the best of these last 2 minutes, like focusing on the election, right? With all the background, the rich background that we didn't discuss today.
Sure.
If we
I'll
did
give you
the round
my
2.
2 minute. I'll
Do,
give you
do
my
you
two
think you
minute
can
pitch.
actually win this? What's the point if you
Okay,
cannot win?
number one, and if anybody wants to go to harveywizard.com and look, I have my list of impossible achievements. Part of it was realizing I did it for 2024, that I could just actually register with the Federal Election Committee, have the account that you need, the special account. Even with it's kind of funny, even with the Patriot Act, I was able to open the account that allowed me to be a presidential candidate from here in Costa Rica, from the computer, which you would think that they shouldn't allow you to do that. But it's really about, yeah, it's possible if people want it, because I think that's fundamentally what Trump proved, right? It would have seemed impossible for a convicted felon rapist and all to become president, and everybody just going along with it. Part of why I'm running is just, I said, let me start from day one, just to remind people this isn't normal, because there are a lot of things every day that happen that look a lot like Nazi Germany. I mean, Carrie Lake was just named to the Voice of America, and that just goes under the radar. It's like you're giving, basically a Trump sycophant the microphone to the rest of the world, and that's on top of it. So I'm here to remind everybody that whether or not you make money, America has sold its soul, and I'm letting people know that I'm here to remind us what our soul has always been. And for those who prefer, who don't want to lump themselves in with a bunch of, it comes down to people who at least are racist or don't care about being led by a racist felon, rapist, whatever. It's just I want there to be somebody to say to the rest of the world that America cares. And interestingly, on my college tutoring website, after I made my announcement, the earliest in history, about my presidential candidacy, I've got 4 hits from Russia. No other European nation. 4 hits from Russia. So they're taking me seriously. That's all I can say. They're
Oh
taking me
man,
seriously.
that's great. You're quite entertaining, and yeah, we'd probably need various episodes to unravel all of this. Probably various years actually, but I can relate, right? Because I'm somewhat like that. Mentally, we share the same somewhat ADHD, OCD-ish tendencies. I'm also diagnosed with that, right? But I think it's a superpower that makes you super interesting. And yeah, I think people could potentially benefit from your coaching services, because all coaches are friggin' the same nowadays. Where can people find out more about you, Harvey?
You can, like, if you search Harvey Wizard, you'll find me, but harveywizard.com, or you can go to wizard2028.com. Just
I
remember
was